All right, today I am going to make some wall art out of these things. Gonna cut some down to size using one of these to fit with the smaller pieces. And then for this big piece, I don't really have a way to cut it flush on the end. So I made this little outfit. Just put it in place. And I'll clamp it here. And then I'll clamp it to this back fence right here. Something like that. And then I'm going to use this fantastic hacksaw to cut myself off some chunks. All right, let's try cutting a piece here. Just gonna move it forward, take off. Yeah, again, I don't know, man. Maybe 3/4 of an inch. Something like that. Got it clamped on the back side. Gonna clamp down here for the time being. Just make everything nice and sturdy. Just give it another tweak. There it is. Now it's down to mad hacksaw skills. See how this plays out. Look at that. Yeah, not the straightest thing ever, but it'll do. Let's cut a piece, shall we? Gonna do it with my smart hand if I can. Not taking off that much. 1/2 inch maybe? Ta-da! Got all my pieces cut. And they're all different heights and stuff. So now we got to clean them up. All right, because I cut these big ones with the hacksaw, I've got a fairly rough edge on this one. So I will attack that with a flat file. Something like that. Do it till it's nice and smooth on both edges. And then, yeah, we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. So I got the edge fairly flush, but I still have the burrs on the inside and the outside. So I will continue on with the flat file and just run around the outside edge. Get rid of some of those burrs. Okay, so this outside edge is pretty nice. Just got the inside here, has a few burrs on it. So for that, we're gonna need the chainsaw file. All right. Okay, inside, edge, outside, all reasonable, but we can do better. So what I'm going to use now is a fine steel wool. Oh, yeah, that's all right there. Okay, so I got all the pieces about as clean as I'm gonna get them. I laid into them with the bench grinder and a wire wheel on the one side. Did a pretty good job. So I spent some time organizing them, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. And that's the pattern I came up with. So now I gotta solder it all together. So I'm gonna get all that stuff together. And then I'll solder 1 or 2 pieces. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right. Okay. We got it all clean, all laid out. Now it's just time to solder it. So I plan on just clamping them. Move it aside, solder it, put it back, clamp the next piece, move it aside, solder it, put it back. Lead-free solder, bit of silver in there, because why not, man? Yep. Some heat. Tinning flux, little brush. Yeah, let's solder a few pieces together, see what happens. Okay, we got the first one soldered. Turned out all right. Give it a quick soak afterwards, cool her down. I'm gonna do one here for the camera. I'm hoping you guys can see this. All right, let's clamp it, give it a go. Okay, got it pretty straight. Gonna flux it. Let's put some heat on this. Yeah, looks good. Worked okay. 2 soldered. Got like 40 more to go or something outrageous like that. So I'll solder some more together. Be back to check later. Okay. I'm about halfway through soldering it together. As you can see. And what I figured out is that you got to keep, when you're soldering small pieces like this one here, you know, when you're doing this solder, you have to keep this weld cold. Because once you get this side hot enough to solder, then this side gets too hot and it pops. So I just took a little piece of wet cloth. And honestly, like I just get it soaking wet and just put it there and solder next to it, and it worked out okay. Pretty time consuming though. But that's all right. I think it's gonna look pretty cool when it's done. All right. Coming down to the home stretch now. All right. Put a little bit of heat on it, helps this stuff melt, get on all the spots. All right, so you know what? I'm gonna move the camera back so I don't melt anything. Who knows that would be? Let's not do that today, maybe tomorrow. So there's a solder. We're gonna solder this last one together. Clamp them. Okay. So this is the one that I'm going to solder right here. This is the one that I've already soldered, and that one I've already soldered. I've got that one protected with some wet paper towel. And the cloth is fairly wet too, don't want it catching on fire. Big inhale and then solder. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I've gone far enough now. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and finish up some of these edges. You know, just get in there, clean it up with a bit of steel wool to start with. But I think I'm going to leave it pretty rustic looking. So I'm not going to do too much work on it, and we'll spray it, call it a day. All right, I got it all cleaned up. Used mostly steel wool, a little bit of sandpaper. Busted out the Dremel tool, kind of give some of these a bit of texture. Took some compressed air to it. Made myself a nice clean workspace. Now I am going to spray it. Okay, Tremclad, classic. Clear satin. I prefer the satin finish. Makes it pop and you don't get that kind of shiny look to it that the gloss gives. Let's give it a go, and when it's dry, we'll take a look at it. And then I got thinking, what if you didn't hang it at all? Anyways, that's that, man. A bunch of copper tubing all soldered together in some weird formation. And we'll call that art.